Warm good morning to everyone. In this revision module, online module, I am going to take the lesson, the last lesson written by Alphonse Daudet. This is your first chapter of Flamingo and it is one of the most important chapters. We have seen already about the chapter and about the gist and the summary of the chapter. To revise it again, I will tell you some important references from the text. I have my book also with me today and I will discuss the characters that are playing the role prominently in the chapter and also about the background and the gist of the chapter. So point number 1 is the topic or the title of the chapter, that is the last lesson. So what do you mean by this topic? You should know it that this particular title emphasizes what? So it emphasizes the French lesson. Okay, French lesson. Who is giving this French lesson? By whom it is being delivered? So it is delivered by the teacher, Mr. Hamel. So this is the main character. This particular teacher is a French teacher who is actually a very devotional and dedicated teacher working for quite long in the school. He almost has given 40 years in teaching and he loved his mother tongue, that is French. So one important idea that is being discussed here in the title is this is the last lesson probably of French. Okay, and why it is the last lesson? Then you look up the background. Okay, and background is a historical background that tells about the war that actually commences between France and Germany. So France got a defeat by German soldiers and that was the day when Germany was overtaking and changing all the rules and regulations, and how the France actually wanted to keep the identity but it's too difficult for the country who loses. So that particular scenario was there. In that particular atmosphere, one day Franz, a little boy, a school goer, he is going to school and he watches certain changes that happen, a very unusual changes that happen in that city, that he watches the bulletin board, he watches that certain soldiers, Prussian soldiers were marching and that kind of atmosphere where there is no hustle and bustle. The usual time in which he actually goes off to the school, he watches a lot of hustle, bustle and noises. But that particular day when he is going, he watched a kind of unusual atmosphere or the change that happened. So I am having the text with me and I will discuss some of the important ideas. So page number 2, the birds were chirping at the edge of the woods and in the open field back of the Swan Hill, the Prussian soldiers were drilling. So there are a couple of important activities that has happened that day when he was going proceeding toward the school. So that is an important question. Again, there is a word named bulletin board. So bulletin board is to convey the important news in the older times, like for example lost battles, drafts, any kind of bad news or the commands of the commanding officer. So this is again the important short question which you have to take care of. Then third important thing on page number 3, it is been given here that he was making fun of me and reached Mr. Hamilton garden all out of breath. So he was very much fearful because he got late for the lesson of participles. So that day Mr. Hamel was taking the lesson of participles and he was all late, and then there was usually the school had a lot of hustle, but loud voices coming from the rapping on the table and all that. But that Sunday morning was quite different. In what way it is different, you should mark that. Then important point comes up here that Mr. Hamel's character, what he dressed up. He dressed up in a very beautiful green coat with a embroidered and frilled black silk cap and shirt. So on page number 4 it is all given. Why he has dressed up in a very different or formal clothes that day? Probably he knew that this change has occurred actually not able to continue this profession or continue to teach the people out there. So it was his last lesson, so he dressed up nicely to just give his homage or respect to the language. Now, so he started like this on page number 4. It is given, "My children, this is the last lesson I shall give you. The order has come from Berlin to teach only Germany in the schools of Alaska and Lorraine." So please underline this particular reference. It's very important that you should know who is the speaker and what it means. And the new master comes tomorrow. This is your last French lesson. Now, this is the last lesson, is a very relevant topic, or it's a title. It's very apt and accurate because it's the last lesson of French delivered by Mr. Hamel. Now it's clear. Now what a thunderclap these words were to me. Very important line again. Who told this? Who said this line? So this line is said by little Franz because he was not prepared for what has happened, and he was shocked when he got this news from Mr. Hamel that it was their last lesson, and that's why he told that it's like a thunderclap. Thunderclap means it's like having a bold effect on him, and it was very annoying, disturbing, shocking. So thunderclap is a word which is used for astonishment. Okay. So my last French lesson, why I hardly knew how to write. I should never learn anymore. I must stop there. Then, oh, how sorry I was for not learning my lessons. Here we have seen the regret of Franz and how Mr. Hamel has delivered his idea, how cranky he was. So again, crazy, cranky, strict. These were the characteristics of Mr. Hamel, along with his demeanor, physical demeanor that has been mentioned here in the text. Now, I heard Mr. Hamel say to me, "I won't scold you, little Franz. You must feel bad enough. See how it is. Every day we have said to ourselves, I have plenty of time, and we have all a great deal to reproach ourselves with." So, this line again on page number 5 is very important. What kind of great deal to reproach ourselves? Reproach means there is a kind of dissatisfaction or compensating loss, making over the loss. Okay, your parents were not anxious enough to have you learn. They prefer to put you to work on a farm. So they are regretting that how easily we used to take our mother tongue. But at last he says that mother tongue has its own value because it's the only thing that gives us the identity. So this is an important line that you have to do. Now on page number 7. Come on page number 7. When a people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to the prison. Very important line, students, as far as the long answer type questions or reference kind of question, MCQ also. So this particular line says that language, it tells us the importance of language. They are giving the emphasis on mother tongue again, and says that when you abandon in a very different place, and you are actually set to be in a different scenario and atmosphere, then it will be difficult to exist. But what actually helps there is your command over your mother tongue. So that particular time when you are aloof, when you are secluded, when you are in problem, when you are in your foreign land, then no one saves you but your mother tongue. So this is again very important to treasure the mother tongue, to give the respect to your mother tongue, and that's the key to the prison. So this is the importance of the language here given by Mr. Hamel. And France, alas, they look like little flags floating everywhere in the schoolroom. So schoolroom is filled with the passion of patriotism. Okay, the feeling of patriotism is floating in the school. So he is a patriot also, Mr. Hamel here. And whenever I looked up from my writing, I saw Mr. Hamel sitting motionless. Now Mr. Hamel's psyche is discussed here. He was quite calm, composed that day, very quiet, little bit motionless, listless, and sensitively handling this issue. He was very much sentimental. He had tears also in his eyes. At last he said, "Vive la France, long live France." That particular expression told us or denotes his love for his mother tongue. And also there is one expression given by France that, "Will they make them sing in German, even the pigeons," on page number 7. That is also very important, that they can compel us to just switch over to the other mode of communication, that is German, but will they actually force the natural species also, the birds also, and compulsion, the enforcement done by the foreign body, by Germany. This is a complaint mode, this is a regret, this is a pain shown by France here. He said in a very bold manner that it is impossible that they force the pigeons also to poop in German. So this is a very ironical statement. And on the last page, he had the courage to hear every lesson to the very last. So all the important people were sitting, as we know that it's given on somewhere on page number 4, that old Hosser was there and postmaster was there. So all the backbenchers sitting there giving the respect that day on the last lesson. And at last he said, "My friends," something choked him. So he was feeling very choked and sensitive about this issue, and he wrote on the board, "Vive la France." Okay, so spelling is this, "Vive la France." And then he stopped and leaned his head against the wall, and without a word he made a gesture. "School is dismissed, you may go." So this was the feeling, this was the very sentimental expression given by Mr. Hamel at last. And see the particular words and expression here. One particular word has been used, linguistic chauvinism. There is a question in your text that what do you mean by linguistic chauvinism? So it is taking the pride of the language too far extent, and linguistic minority also you need to know. I have discussed it in my notes. Please follow that. I hope you understood the important references. Read it minutely. Please cover up all the important points. As far as the text reading is concerned, it should be fully done by you. And if you have any doubt, just ask me in the doubt session. Thank you. Have a nice day.